Hi everyone, my name is Melissa Bess with University of Missouri Extension. I'm a regional nutrition and health education specialist in Camden County in the South Central region. And this video today is going to cover healthier holiday eating. I'm going to discuss some ways to alter or change our recipes so that they're healthier, and some other tips for eating healthy during the holiday season. So the first tip that I have for altering your recipes to make them healthier is number one, to cut back on the sugar. So some things that you can do regarding the sugar in a recipe: you can cut the sugar by 1/3 or down to the next lowest common measurement. You would never want to completely take out all the sugar in a recipe because it's necessary to have a good end product, but you can cut back on it. You can cut back by 1/3 or to the next lowest common measurement, meaning that if your recipe calls for 1 cup of sugar, you could try 3/4 of a cup of sugar. Or if your recipe calls for 3/4 of a cup of sugar, you can cut it back down to 1/2 a cup of sugar. It may take a little bit of experimenting to get it exactly right, but those are two ways you can cut back on the sugar. Another option is if you use artificial sweeteners, Splenda can be used in place of the sugar in a recipe as well. The next way to alter your recipes is to cut back on the fat in the recipe. In a lot of your baking with cakes or brownies or that sort of thing, you can use unsweetened applesauce for half or even all of the oil or fat in a recipe. Once again, it may take a little bit of experimenting to get it exactly right. With cake mixes, if you're using a lighter colored cake, one option that you may want to experiment with is using 1 can of a lighter colored diet soda, such as a Diet Sprite, and mixing just that with your cake mix. It will make kind of a fluffier cake, and you may have to watch your cooking time, but that's one way to cut back on some of the oil and the fat in that recipe. If you're using a darker cake, you can use a dark diet soda in replace of the oil and the eggs in the recipe, and give that a try. With brownies, you can try your brownie mix with a can of black beans to replace the oil and egg in that recipe. Those are some things you may just want to experiment with and see how they work. If you're cooking meat, make sure you trim any visible fat off that meat before cooking, and drain the grease from any meat while you're cooking it as well. If you're cooking ground beef, for instance, drain the grease away from that meat, allow it to drain on your meat to drain on some paper towels, and then you can use a colander to rinse the meat with hot water, and that will get a lot of the extra grease and fat off of your ground beef. Another way to alter your recipes is to cut back on the sodium or the salt in that recipe. A lot of recipes you can completely cut out the salt in the recipe, or just cut the amount down by a little bit if you still like some of the salt in there. You can also use other herbs, lemon juice, garlic, or sodium-free seasonings in those recipes and see how they turn out, but that will help cut back on the salt in those recipes. One way to get some added fiber in our recipes is to substitute up to half of the flour with whole wheat flour. You would never want to substitute all whole wheat flour for the white flour, but you can try a little bit at a time and increase it up to half of what the recipe calls for. If you were to use all whole wheat flour, your end product wouldn't be as tasty as normal. You can also add oats to certain recipes, and that will add a little bit of fiber in there, or adding extra fruit, extra vegetables, especially if you can add the peel in some of those, and that will help provide a little bit more fiber. So with muffins, pancakes, cakes, you can add some different fruit to those. If you're making a quiche or a salad or a casserole, add some extra vegetables, whatever you have on hand. Just a few other quick tips for healthy eating during the holiday season. Don't go to a big party or event really hungry. Try to have a light snack or eat normal meals before that, because that way you won't overindulge when you're at the party. Try not to stand next to the buffet, and also any other snacks that are maybe situated around the room in little bowls. Sometimes people have little snacks, pretzels or nuts sitting out, and when we're sitting by those, we tend to just eat them and not pay any attention. Same thing with the buffet. If we're standing close to it, we just keep eating off of that, and those little tastes here and there do add up over time. So get your plate, put whatever you want on your plate, and then move away from the buffet as well. Take a small amount from the buffet first, and then if you're still hungry, you can always go back for seconds. Try to focus more on fruits, vegetables, whole grains, leaner choices of meat, low-fat cheese, low-fat yogurt, or even nuts as well. Those are some of the healthier choices on a buffet, so try to focus more on those things as well. Also, don't forget to incorporate activity into your holiday season. Walk around the neighborhood and look at the different holiday displays and holiday lights. Build a snowman, ride a sled, or go ice skating when the weather turns in that temperature. Incorporate fun activities. Rake leaves. Walk extra at the shopping mall when you're getting some holiday gifts or holiday things at the grocery store. Just add some extra walking, or park further away, or take the stairs instead of the elevator as well. So don't use the holidays as an excuse to gain weight. You can still enjoy your favorite treats and your indulgences in the holiday season, but just in moderation. That's all I have. I hope you have a healthy holiday season. Thank you.